Officer Marcus Jennings stood in the emergency room lobby, his hand resting on his belt. He looked at the black woman in the wheelchair, waiting near the nurse's station. Her crutches leaned against the wall. He smirked. This was about to get interesting. Marcus walked over. His boots clicked on the tile floor. Loud, deliberate. "Ma'am, you need to move your wheelchair," he said. His voice carried across the waiting area. "You're blocking the emergency lane." Sarah Mitchell looked up from her tablet. She'd been reviewing patient charts. Her leg braces were visible beneath her professional slacks. "I'm not blocking anything, officer," she said calmly. "I'm waiting for someone." Marcus stepped closer. Too close. "I don't care what you're waiting for. You can't just park yourself wherever you want. This isn't a bus stop." Several people in the waiting room looked over. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "I work here," Sarah explained. Her voice stayed level. "I'm waiting for my colleague." Marcus laughed. The sound wasn't kind. "You work here? Doing what? Selling candy in the gift shop?" Sarah's jaw tightened. She'd heard this before. Too many times. But never from someone who should know better. Never from someone whose job was to protect people. "I'm a doctor," she said quietly. "Right." Marcus crossed his arms. "And I'm the president. Look, lady, I don't know what game you're playing, but this hospital has real doctors. You know, people who actually went to medical school." The waiting room went silent. You could hear the hum of the fluorescent lights. But what Marcus didn't know would cost him everything. Let me take you back 3 hours earlier. Sarah Mitchell had started her morning the way she always did. Review the previous night's emergency cases, check on the surgical schedule, visit patients who'd been admitted overnight. 20 years she'd worked at Mercy General Hospital, started as a resident, became an attending physician, then department head, and 6 months ago, the board had appointed her as chief executive officer. She was the first black woman to hold that position in the hospital's 100-year history. But Sarah had a rule, a personal philosophy that guided everything she did. Once a week, she spent an entire shift working on the floor. No executive office, no CEO title, just Dr. Mitchell, helping wherever she was needed. She wanted to see her hospital the way patients saw it, the way staff experienced it when they thought no one important was watching. This morning, she'd parked her wheelchair near the nurse's station. She was reviewing discharge orders for a patient who'd come in overnight with chest pain. The man was stable now, ready to go home. But Sarah wanted to make sure his follow-up care was arranged properly. Her cerebral palsy affected her legs, had since birth. Some days were better than others. Today, she needed the wheelchair. Tomorrow, maybe just the crutches. It didn't matter to her. She'd learned long ago that her body's limitations didn't define her capabilities. What mattered was the work, the patience, the standard of care. She had no idea that a single police officer was about to test everything she believed about dignity and respect. Marcus wasn't finished. He'd called for backup. Officer Lisa Chen arrived within minutes. She was younger, less experienced, but she'd learned to follow Marcus's lead. He'd been on the force for 15 years. He knew the streets. He knew how things worked. "This woman refuses to move," Marcus told Lisa. His voice was official now, formal. "I've asked her twice. She's being non-compliant." Lisa looked at Sarah, then at Marcus. Something didn't feel right. "Ma'am," Lisa said gently, "is there a problem here?" "No problem at all," Sarah replied. "I'm Dr. Mitchell. I work here. I'm waiting for Dr. Patel to discuss a patient case." Marcus interrupted. "She keeps saying she's a doctor. I think she might be having a mental episode. Maybe we should call psychiatric services." Sarah's eyes widened. This was crossing a line, a dangerous line. "Officer, I can show you my hospital badge," she offered. Her hand moved toward her purse. "Don't reach for anything." Marcus's hand moved to his weapon, not drawing it, just resting there. A threat without words. The emergency room staff started to notice. A young nurse named Amy stepped forward. She'd worked with Dr. Mitchell for 2 years. "Officer, that really is Dr. Mitchell," Amy said. Her voice shook slightly. "She's one of our physicians." Marcus turned on her. "Did I ask you? Go back to work, nurse. Adults are talking." Amy's face flushed red. She stepped back. Marcus looked at Sarah again. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to provide identification, and then you need to leave the hospital premises. Leave? Sarah couldn't believe what she was hearing. I told you, I work here. Right, in the gift shop. We established that. Marcus pulled out his notepad. What's your name? Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Your real name. Sarah took a deep breath. Anger was building in her chest. But she'd learned. Years of facing prejudice had taught her. Stay calm. Don't give them ammunition. Don't fit the stereotype they expect. Sarah made a decision. She reached slowly into her purse. Very slowly, making sure both officers could see her hands. She pulled out her hospital ID badge, the one with her photo, the one that said Sarah Mitchell, MD, Chief Executive Officer. She held it up. Marcus barely glanced at it. That's fake, he said. You can buy those online for $20. Lisa leaned in to look. Her expression changed. Marcus, I think you should let me handle this, Chen. Marcus's tone was sharp. Lisa stepped back. A small crowd had gathered now. Other patients, family members, more staff, everyone watching, everyone waiting to see what would happen. This was the moment Sarah hated most, the moment when she had to choose, prove herself or walk away. If she pushed back too hard, she became the angry black woman, the troublemaker, the one who couldn't follow simple instructions. If she stayed silent, she accepted the disrespect. She let it continue. She became complicit in her own degradation. Dr. Richard Patel appeared from the hallway. He saw the scene. His face went pale. Sarah, he called out. Sorry I'm late. I got held up in surgery. He walked over quickly, nodded to the officers. Is there a problem here, gentlemen? Marcus's eyes narrowed. You know this woman? Know her. Patel laughed. It was genuine. Warm. She's my boss. Dr. Mitchell is the CEO of this hospital. The lobby went quiet again. Different this time. You could feel the shift, the realization spreading through the crowd. Marcus's expression didn't change. Sir, I don't know what you're involved in here, but impersonating a medical professional is a serious crime. Patel blinked. I'm not impersonating anyone. I'm Dr. Richard Patel, Chief of Surgery, and this is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She runs this entire hospital. But Marcus Jennings had made a career out of being right, and he wasn't about to back down now. Marcus pulled Dr. Patel aside. Sir, I respect that you're trying to help, but this woman has been acting erratic, making false claims about her position. I need to ensure everyone's safety. Sarah watched this happen. Watched a police officer tell a surgeon that the CEO wasn't who she said she was. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so painful. Amy, the young nurse, pulled out her phone. She knew Dr. Mitchell, really knew her, had seen her save lives, had watched her transform the emergency department's protocols, had benefited from Sarah's mentorship program that helped young nurses advance their careers. Amy started recording. Marcus noticed. Put that phone away, now! It's a public space, Amy said. Her voice was stronger now. I have a right to record. Not when you're interfering with police business. Marcus turned to Lisa. Chen, confiscate that phone. Lisa hesitated. This was all wrong. Every instinct told her so. But Marcus was her training officer. Her evaluations depended on his recommendations. She reached for Amy's phone. Don't touch her. Sarah's voice cut through the tension. Not loud, but commanding. Officer Chen, you have no legal right to seize that phone. And Officer Jennings, you need to stop this right now. Marcus wheeled on her. Or what? You'll call your lawyer? File a complaint? Lady, I don't care how many fake ID badges you bought online. You're disrupting a medical facility. That's a crime. I'm disrupting? Sarah's voice rose slightly. Just slightly. I'm sitting in a wheelchair reviewing patient charts. You're the one who created this circus. More staff members appeared. Word was spreading through the hospital. Something was happening in the ER. Something bad. Janet Rodriguez, the director of nursing, pushed through the crowd. She'd worked at Mercy General for 30 years. She'd seen a lot, but nothing like this. What in God's name is going on here? Janet demanded. Marcus turned to her. Ma'am, please stay back. This is police business. Janet looked at Sarah, then at Marcus, then at the crowd. She understood immediately. Officer, that woman in the wheelchair is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She's the CEO of this hospital. She's also one of the finest physicians I've ever worked with, and you need to apologize to her right now. Marcus's face hardened. I don't need to do anything except my job. Now all of you need to clear this area. You're interfering with an official investigation. Investigation of what? Janet's voice was steel. A black woman in a wheelchair? Is that your investigation? The words hung in the air. Heavy. Undeniable. Marcus's jaw clenched. This has nothing to do with race. Then what does it have to do with? Janet stepped closer. Because from where I'm standing, you've harassed a disabled physician. You've dismissed her credentials. You've threatened her. You've ignored multiple staff members who've identified her. So tell me, officer, what exactly is your probable cause here? Sarah watched this unfold. Part of her wanted to stop it, to de-escalate, to make peace. That's what she'd always done. Smooth things over. Don't make waves. Protect everyone else's comfort, even at the cost of her own dignity. But another part of her was tired, so incredibly tired. Tired of proving herself, tired of being questioned, tired of having her credentials doubted because of how she looked or how she moved. Marcus pulled out his handcuffs. Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing and disorderly conduct. The crowd gasped. Several people pulled out their phones. This was insane. Everyone could see it. Everyone except Marcus. Dr. Patel stepped between them. Officer, if you arrest her, you'll be arresting the chief executive of this hospital. Do you understand what that means? It means she should have shown proper identification when asked. Marcus reached for Sarah's arm. Sarah pulled back. Don't touch me. Now you're resisting. I'm asserting my rights. There's a difference. And that's when the hospital's head of security appeared. And everything Marcus thought he knew was about to crumble. Tom Bradley had been head of security at Mercy General for 12 years. Ex-military, ex-police. He'd seen conflict. He knew how to read situations. He also knew Dr. Sarah Mitchell personally. They'd worked together to revamp the hospital's safety protocols. She'd fought for better equipment for his team, better training, better pay. Officers, Tom said calmly, walking up. I'm Tom Bradley, Director of Security. Can someone explain what's happening? Marcus seemed relieved. Finally, someone in authority. Someone who would understand. This woman is refusing to leave hospital property. She's been making false claims about being a doctor. We're placing her under arrest. Tom looked at Sarah. She sat there quiet now, exhausted, humiliated in front of her own staff, her own patients. Officer Jennings, Tom said slowly, that woman is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She's the CEO of this hospital. She's also my boss. Marcus's confidence wavered, just for a second. How do I know you're not part of some scheme? Tom pulled out his radio. All units, this is Bradley. Can someone from administration come to the ER immediately? We have a situation. Within 2 minutes, 3 people arrived. The chief financial officer, the head of human resources, the chair of the medical board. All of them vouched for Sarah. Marcus stood there, surrounded by witnesses, surrounded by evidence. But his pride wouldn't let him admit the mistake. Fine, he said. Maybe she does work here. But she was still being non-compliant. She didn't show proper respect. Sarah laughed. It was bitter. Sad. Proper respect? Officer, I showed you my ID. I told you who I was. Multiple people confirmed it. What more did you want? An apology would be nice, Marcus muttered. The crowd erupted, voices overlapping, anger, disbelief. Lisa Chen, the younger officer, finally spoke up. Marcus, we need to go. This was a mistake. We don't leave until... Now, Marcus. Lisa's voice was firm. We're leaving now. But the story doesn't end there. Because Marcus Jennings was about to learn just how big his mistake really was. 2 hours later, Marcus sat in his supervisor's office. Captain Patricia Odom sat across from him. She'd been reviewing the incident reports. watching the cell phone videos that had already started circulating online. "Explain this to me," Captain Odom said. Her voice was cold. "Explain how a 15-year veteran officer spent 40 minutes harassing a hospital CEO." "I was responding to a complaint," Marcus said. "Someone said there was a suspicious person in the ER." "Who complained?" Silence. "Marcus, who filed the complaint?" I I observed the situation myself." Captain Odom leaned back. "So no one complained. You saw a black woman in a wheelchair, and you decided she didn't belong there." "That's not what happened." "Then what happened? Because I've got 6 videos showing you threatening to arrest a disabled physician. A physician who runs the hospital. A physician who showed you ID, who had multiple staff members vouch for her." Marcus's hands clenched. "She was being difficult." "She was sitting in a wheelchair, Marcus. How was that difficult?" The silence stretched out. Captain Odom opened a file. "Do you know why Dr. Sarah Mitchell was in the ER this morning?" Marcus didn't answer. "She was there because she does this every week. Works a regular shift on the floor. No CEO title, no corner office, just patient care. She does it to stay connected to the frontline staff, to see what her hospital really looks like." She slid a paper across the desk. "And do you know what else? 3 years ago, Dr. Mitchell personally funded a new training program, a program that helps police officers better understand disability rights, better understand how to interact with disabled citizens." Marcus looked at the paper. It was a commendation. From the police department to Dr. Sarah Mitchell for her community service. "She's on our side, Marcus. She's been helping us, and you treated her like a criminal." Captain Odom pulled out another file. This one was thicker. "There's something else you need to know." She opened it. Medical records, with a name Marcus recognized immediately. His daughter, Emma, 12 years old, diagnosed with a rare bone disorder. "Next week, Emma's scheduled for surgery, experimental procedure, very delicate, very dangerous, but it's her best chance." Marcus nodded. He knew. He'd been trying not to think about it, trying to focus on work, on anything else. "Do you know who's leading that surgical team?" Captain Odom asked. Marcus felt his stomach drop. "Dr. Sarah Mitchell," Odom said softly. "She's the only surgeon in the tri-state area qualified to perform this procedure. She pioneered it. She's personally performed it 17 times. 17 successes, 0 failures." The room spun. "Your daughter's life is in her hands, Marcus. And this morning, you tried to arrest her." Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. "I didn't know. That's the problem. You didn't know. You didn't ask. You saw a black woman in a wheelchair, and you made assumptions. You saw disability and thought less than. You saw her and decided she couldn't possibly be who she said she was." Captain Odom stood. "Dr. Mitchell has formally requested a meeting with you. She said it's not about pressing charges, not about filing a complaint. She said she wants to talk, human to human." Marcus couldn't speak. "The meeting's in 1 hour. Conference room at the hospital. And Marcus, you're going to go, you're going to listen, and you're going to learn." 90 minutes later, hospital conference room. Sarah sat at one end of the table, Marcus at the other. Captain Odom sat in the corner, observing. The silence was heavy. Finally, Sarah spoke. "Officer Jennings, I want you to understand something. What happened this morning wasn't new for me. I face that kind of prejudice regularly. Sometimes subtle, sometimes not, but it never stops hurting." Marcus stared at his hands. "You saw my wheelchair and decided I couldn't be a doctor. You saw my skin color and decided I must be lying. You saw me and thought less than." "I'm sorry," Marcus said. The words felt inadequate. "Are you? Or are you just sorry because you found out I'm your daughter's surgeon?" Marcus looked up, met her eyes. "Both. I'm sorry for both. I was wrong, completely wrong, and I have no excuse." Sarah nodded. "Your daughter's surgery is still scheduled. I'm not going to punish a child for her father's mistakes. But I need you to understand something." She leaned forward. "I'm not special, Officer Jennings. I'm just visible. But there are thousands of people like me. Black, disabled, competent, qualified, and they deal with what you did to me every single day. The difference is, they don't have the power I have. They can't fight back the way I can." Marcus's voice cracked. "What do I do?" "You learn. You grow. You do better." Sarah pulled out a folder. "This is information about the disability awareness training I mentioned, and about implicit bias training, about seeing people as individuals, not stereotypes." She slid it across the table. "I'm going to save your daughter's life next week, because that's what I do. That's who I am. But you get to decide who you're going to be. Are you going to be the officer who learns from this, or the one who makes excuses?" Marcus took the folder. "I'll do the training, all of it, and I'll do it right." "Good." Sarah stood, extended her hand. "Your daughter's in excellent hands. I promise you that." Marcus stood, shook her hand. "Thank you for everything." 3 weeks later. Emma Jennings sat up in her hospital bed. The surgery had been a complete success. She'd be walking normally within months. No pain, no limitations. A full life ahead of her. Marcus stood at her bedside, watching her laugh with the nurses, watching her tell jokes, watching his little girl be a little girl again. Dr. Sarah Mitchell appeared in the doorway. She'd just finished her rounds. "How's our star patient?" she asked, smiling at Emma. "I'm great, Dr. Mitchell. Look." Emma carefully lifted her leg, moved it. "No pain at all." "That's wonderful, sweetheart. You're healing perfectly." Marcus stepped forward. "Dr. Mitchell, can I speak with you?" They walked into the hallway. "I want you to know," Marcus said, "I've completed the first phase of training, disability awareness, implicit bias, and I've been talking to other officers, sharing what I learned, what I should have known all along." Sarah smiled. "That's good to hear. It's not enough, I know that, but it's a start. It is a start." Sarah adjusted her crutches. Her wheelchair was parked nearby. She alternated depending on her energy levels. "Officer Jennings, can I tell you something?" "Of course." "The world needs people who can admit when they're wrong, who can grow, who can change. You did something terrible that day, but you're choosing to do something good now. That matters." Marcus nodded. "Emma wants to be a doctor someday, like you." Sarah's eyes lit up. "Does she?" "She said she wants to help people the way you helped her. She doesn't see limitations. She sees possibilities." "Then she's already halfway there." They stood in the hallway, two people who'd started as adversaries, now connected by a little girl's dreams and a shared commitment to doing better. Sarah extended her hand. "Officer Jennings, I think this is the beginning of something important." Marcus shook it firmly. "I hope so, Dr. Mitchell. I really hope so." 6 months later, Mercy General Hospital hosted a community forum. The topic: building bridges between law enforcement and healthcare. Dr. Sarah Mitchell stood at the podium. Officer Marcus Jennings sat on the panel. Together, they told their story: the confrontation, the assumptions, the learning, the growth. And in the audience, people listened. Police officers, nurses, doctors, community members, all of them seeing themselves in the story, all of them understanding the power of prejudice and the greater power of change, because sometimes the worst moments become the best lessons, and sometimes the people we judge become the people who save us, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, completely. Stories like this remind us that dignity isn't negotiable, that every person deserves respect, that our assumptions can blind us to the truth. If this story touched your heart, check out our other videos about people who overcame prejudice and proved the doubters wrong. And leave a comment below. Tell us about a time when someone underestimated you and how you proved them wrong. Because your story matters too.